Today we're going to be talking about the hottest manga in Japan and the United States for quite some time. That's Kimetsu no Yaiba, translating roughly to Blade of Demon Destruction. You only really understand why the manga has that title considerably further into the series. The manga itself starts out with a bang. You have the main character Tanjiro thrown into the situation of ultimate tragedy, where the reader's left to wonder, what can the simple charcoal burner do from here? And it really just picks up from there. There's no lull in the action from that point on. Even though this manga is 205 chapters long, no arc really feels like it drags on for too long. Each arc really flows and progresses the story. This isn't your typical manga where the side characters don't have backstories. Each one of Tanjiro's companions have their own backstories where you really understand why they are who they are. Even Tanjiro and Nezuko have their own revelations and surprises throughout the series, where you understand why they're willing to do what they are for one another. There's also this recurring theme of family and the strength within it, which I find as a nice, pleasant buffer for all of the violence that goes on throughout the manga. One word of caution though, there is a fair bit of violence in this manga, so make sure you're prepared for that. The overall theme of the manga is Tanjiro and his companions are setting out in ancient Japan to rid the world of demons once and for all, and they all have their inner motivations for why they're willing to try so hard to overcome this monumental task. And now for the details. At 6 to 7 minutes a chapter on average, that puts this manga at a 22 to 24 hour read overall, which is a bit lengthy, but I still have it as an absolute must-read. Even if this is not typically a genre you would be overly interested in, the quality here might be high enough that you'll like this archetype even if you're not usually excited about reading this type of manga. One of the few mangas out there that I'm going to give the S rating to, I really felt throughout the entire manga that I was engaged and waiting to see what was going to happen next. No other recent manga in the action space is so willing to take such a deep and serious approach to the storyline. The emotional parts of the manga really resonated with me as a reader, which I appreciate as there's always this risk of coming across as cheesy when those types of scenes are introduced. So to start off my final thoughts here on Kimetsu no Yaiba, I'd like to say that when a high-quality, long-running manga ends, I typically end up feeling like I wanted just a little bit more. But with this series, that was less of an issue because of how content I was with the ending. The best part about the ending, I think, is that it doesn't really lose vision on what the original theme of the manga was, and I definitely found myself smiling as I flipped through the final few pages. I give the author a large amount of respect as well for not pushing the story out to 1,000+ chapters. He definitely could have done that, but it felt like it was the right time for it to end when it did in fact end. The final battles were fulfilling, and each fight had an assortment of backstories with emotionally satisfying themes, twists, and sacrifices.